Live NFL trivia every Tuesday night on Twitch at 9 p.m. Eastern. Come show off your football knowledge and have a chance to win cash prizes. Check the link in the description to find out more. And now, on with our feature presentation. If you've watched any Saints game, you know what they like to do at quarterback. They'll alternate between Drew Brees and Taysom Hill. Brees plays the bulk of the game, but if there's a short yardage situation where the Saints are by the goal line, they'll put Hill in there. This alternating of quarterbacks is extremely bizarre, and you don't see too many teams implementing that. On the vast majority of teams, you'll see one quarterback play the entire game. Sometimes you'll see package plays for quarterbacks, but it's less commonplace than it is in the college game. But imagine this. Imagine a team alternating quarterbacks not on package plays, not on every quarter, and it seems crazy. It seems absolutely bizarre. But in 1992, Dan Reeves and the Denver Broncos did just that. In a 1992 game against the Dallas Cowboys, with John Elway out, Reeves decided to go back and forth between his quarterbacks on every play. And this is the story behind that. For something drastic like this that you see once in a blue moon, something must have happened. So we need some context to understand just how we got to this point. And with that, we go to November 15th, 1992. The Denver Broncos are taking on the New York Giants in this Sunday night football game. The good news for the Broncos is that they won it 27-13, and the game wasn't even that close, as the Broncos outgained the Giants 379-159 in total yardage. The Broncos improved to 7-3 with the win, and they took first place in the AFC West. The bad news was that during the game, John Elway got injured. Now, Elway was by no means having a great season entering this game, as he threw 8 touchdowns and 11 picks. But he had experience and had his moments, and was having a good game up until that point, completing over 66% of his passes while throwing a touchdown and posting a passer rating of 99.5. Controversially, even though they had Elway, and even though Elway was only 32 years old and still had a bunch of years left in the tank, the Broncos decided to spend a first-round pick on quarterback and future XFL legend Tommy Maddox. He was going to step in and keep Denver's season alive. In Elway's absence, Maddox was going to be the one commanding the charge, especially after a decent performance off the bench against the Giants, where he went 9 for 13 for a passer rating of 102.7 and 134 yards. The former UCLA quarterback was about to show the world why he was a first-round pick. People scoffed at the decision, and he was about to prove the critics wrong by getting shut out the following week against the Raiders. Yeah, the first start for Tommy Maddox didn't go according to plan. He threw no touchdowns and 2 picks while getting sacked 4 times, as the Broncos lost 24-0. And things weren't too much better the following week when they played the Seahawks on Monday Night Football and lost 16-13 in overtime. In that game, Maddox might have been even worse, going 11 for 26 while throwing 2 picks and posting a passer rating of 38.5. His passer rating on this day was worse than if he did nothing but spike the ball into the ground on every single play. With the loss, the Broncos were now at 7-5, and their playoff hopes were starting to slip away. To make matters worse, their next opponent was none other than the Dallas Cowboys. This was the same Dallas team that was looking like the best in football, and entered the game at 10-2. Head coach Dan Reeves needed a plan. He needed to do something innovative now that John Elway wasn't going to be back in time for the game. Tommy Maddox wasn't getting the job done. The other quarterback on the team, Shawn, was an 11th round pick from the year before and hadn't done much of anything. Reeves was in a pickle. And then he came up with an idea. And the idea was based around his old team, which happened to be none other than the Dallas Cowboys. Reeves played for the Cowboys from 1965 to 72, and served as an assistant coach for the team after that. He knew Tom Landry very well, and Landry had an interesting system that he busted out from time to time. It started in 1962, while Reeves was still in college playing at South Carolina. For the first 2 years of the Cowboys franchise, they had an atrocious offense, ranking dead last in the league in 1960 and second to last in 1961. But in 1962, they jumped all the way to second place. How did they do that? Well, they alternated quarterbacks. Don Meredith and Eddie LeBaron, who would make the Pro Bowl that season, would swap out on every single play. The way it came about was a complete accident. The Cowboys had no depth at any other position, so they implemented this out of necessity. Somehow, Dallas won a game against the Vikings 28-0 using this system the year before, and Landry decided to stick with it for 1962. He may have uncovered gold. Landry tried it again in 1971 with Craig Morton and Roger Staubach, before eventually settling on Staubach as his full-time starter and winning Super Bowl VI. Reeves was on that team. He knew Landry and knew his tactics. Desperate times call for desperate measures, and with that, Reeves decided to try that bold strategy. He was going to alternate between Tommy Maddox and Shawn Moore on every single play. How the system worked was like this. One quarterback would go into the game, while the other quarterback would get the next play from the sideline from Reeves. This allowed the quarterback to talk with the coaching staff about what was about to happen, instead of just throwing them into the fire. In a 2-minute drill situation, each quarterback would have 2 or 3 scripted plays and then come out once the clock stopped. Why was Reeves thinking about doing this? Well, it wasn't a knock on Maddox per se, but he said that this system just seemed easier for rookies. As Reeves said, rookies have so many things to think about. I felt I'd give them a little more time to think about the execution, talking to them on the sideline from there to when they got into the huddle. He added that he didn't think that Maddox wasn't capable of playing, but rather that there were some advantages to alternating quarterbacks, simply because it reduces the amount that they need to think. You get the play, you run the play, and then you come out. Simple as that. Cowboys head coach Jimmy Johnson wasn't buying this at all. He still thought that Elway was going to play and that this elaborate plan by Reeves was a bluff to get the team to prepare for 2 quarterbacks and then be surprised when a third in John Elway shows up. But when the game started, Reeves stuck to his word. Shawn Moore and Tommy Maddox were both the quarterback. And the end result? Well, it's complicated. The game did not start off well for Denver at all. Tommy Maddox got picked off on the very first play of the game by Kevin Smith. On his second throw, Maddox got picked off again, this time by James Washington. 2 throws and 2 picks. It was not good, and the Boo Birds were raining down. Not even 7 minutes into the game, and the Cowboys already found themselves up 14-0. This strategy was looking like a failure, and it led John Madden to deliver this incredibly insightful nugget of wisdom.
Yeah, I think everyone is going to say, was this a good idea or a bad idea? And I think you have to say, compared to what? Compared to playing John Elway? Of course, it's a bad idea, but you don't have John Elway. Compared to just playing Tommy Maddox or just playing Shawn Moore, it's an idea anyway.
Eventually, though, the Broncos settled down. Tommy Maddox found Vance Johnson on an 18-yard touchdown on the ensuing drive to make it a 14-7 game. And when Maddox threw his second touchdown pass of the day from 12 yards out, this time to Mark Jackson, the game was 14-13 following a missed extra point. By halftime, the Broncos were only down 4, which I think is way better than anyone was expecting considering these circumstances. The problem, though, was that Moore and Maddox were 2 completely different quarterbacks. Maddox was the boomer bust guy. He was going to throw down the field and throw some touchdown passes, but he was also going to turn it over 5 times. Moore was the safe guy that wasn't going to do a whole lot in a good or bad way. In other words, if this was like baseball, Moore was the guy hitting 250 with a single and 3 lazy fly balls, while Maddox was the guy hitting 250 with a home run and 3 double plays. In the fourth quarter, the Broncos found themselves up 27-24 after an unbelievably controversial trick play. Wide receiver Arthur Marshall threw an 81-yard touchdown pass to Cedric Tillman, but the first pass by Maddox was clearly going forward, meaning that this should have been an illegal forward pass. Instant replay was not a thing back in 1992, so the call stood. If you want to learn more about the history of instant replay, then click the video in the upper right corner. It looked like the Broncos had a shot to pull off an incredible win, but after Emmitt Smith scored from 3 yards out with less than 3 minutes to play, the Cowboys were up 31-27. One last chance for Denver to do something, but it didn't work, as Maddox got intercepted for the 4th time in the 2-minute drill to seal the deal. The Cowboys won the game 31-27, and the Broncos fell to 7-6. The offense looked way more lively than it had the previous 2 weeks, though, and so Reeves decided to go with this strategy again the following week against the Buffalo Bills. However, this time, it was way less successful, as the Bills won 27-17, while Shawn Moore threw 3 interceptions. Elway came back for the final 2 games, the Broncos finished 8-8 to miss the postseason following a 7-3 start, and Reeves would not coach another game for the Broncos after that 1992 season, as he went to the New York Giants. If you want to see a video I made about Reeves with the Giants, then click the card in the upper right corner. Will we see an alternating quarterback strategy again? Who's to say? It's a bold, unique plan that would get criticized and analyzed for days in today's NFL if someone were to try this. But you have to give Reeves this much. When Elway went down and the Broncos were struggling, it certainly wasn't for a lack of innovation. Be sure to like this video, ring the notification bell, and subscribe down below if you haven't already, as it helps the channel out a lot. And be sure to check out Twitch every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for your chance to play NFL trivia and win cash prizes. Link in the description below. If you want to see videos like this condensed down to 60 seconds, then follow me on TikTok at JaredGator9 and subscribe to 60-Second NFL History on YouTube. Also, special thanks to all of our Patreon supporters for helping the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.